Secret Knowledge is a nonprofit that helps creative people like you get down to business because artists struggle to make it, and talent alone isn't enough. Secret Knowledge presents skills you need to make it here.
This workshop is called Secret Knowledge of Working at Websites. The idea behind it was that I wanted to make it so we could talk about what goes into a website that actually works for a professional purpose. In particular, for creative people and helping them to market whatever their business is. If it's a creative business, if it's a music or art or what have you. The idea was that I wanted to be able to show people, how to set up a basic website and how to use a modern content management system. This is the software that run websites in modern times. Back in the day, certainly when I was first starting, you had to go in and make HTML code pages that were marked up documents for every single page that you were going to see, and very often that meant using code that was identical again and again and again in multiple documents. An example would be like if you wanted to have a menu at the top of a page, you'd need to make that menu appear in every one of the documents for every one of the options in that menu. So content management systems have really made it a lot easier to work with, to maintain websites, because it basically builds your website again and again and again in some cases for everyone that's coming. Let's say, in the simplest of terms, that's what's happening. We're going to look at a free open source content management system that's very popular. Large companies are actually using WordPress as their main site. When we say WordPress.com versus WordPress.org, we're talking about WordPress.com is the hosted, very easy, free, initially at least in many ways, blogging setup that you can get that I'm advocating if someone is just getting their feet wet, trying out building a website for themselves, and if you haven't yet spent much time, or if you're at the early stages of developing a new site that you're, still fleshing out your ideas, I say go to WordPress.com. Sign up for an account. They're free accounts. You can create a website that is whatever the thing is you want it to be, the word or whatever. Noah's fancy website .wordpress.com. You can have a website that's hosted in that way for free. It actually does quite a lot. There are some limitations that they place on what it does, but that those limitations, to my mind, are well delineated in terms of what should you be considering, at a free level versus what's something that you're getting serious about it, and it would make sense for you to decide whether you want to host it there or elsewhere. And unlike many systems, which might, many other systems I know of, which might offer free hosting of that sort, I've been really impressed with WordPress.com's dedication to freedom, meaning if you spend a whole year, let's say, and you're blogging and you're setting up a website that's got all kinds of information about you or whatever, you invest all this time and energy in creating that content and storing it in WordPress.com for free, let's say, and then later you decide, I do want to make this have more features than I can get through WordPress.com. I'm ready to do that now. I've really got it all squared out. You can very easily, like dead simply, automatically in most cases, move that content whole hog somewhere else. And WordPress.com, they're not going to do anything wicked to stop you from doing that. They're very committed to keeping that free. I'm not advocating for WordPress as a platform in exclusion of all others. That's not at all the message I want you to get from this. I picked WordPress because the audience for this particular workshop are people who are not experts in building complicated websites. And I wanted to make sure that whatever tool I was presenting was one that I could reasonably say that a wide range of people can just pick up and use, rather than needing to spend time and energy and perhaps skills that they are not likely to develop, getting to a point of being able to build a website that functions. So let's talk about WordPress. There were two really good ideas that the WordPress people came up with, which I think they were innovations of how they conceived, what that website how that system should work. And they were that they distinguished between two kinds of web pages, or two kinds of web content that come up a lot, and they built that into kind of the default of how WordPress is set up. And that was they start off initially by I think they wanted to make up a good blog, so they made like a good blogging software. The other one is static pages, and I'm going to show you both right now. There's home. This is sort of like an overview, this section. When you get down to posts are the name for what blog like articles are in WordPress. That's what they call. That's what WordPress calls them. So a post is something that is usually meant to have some sort of a timely quality to it. Like I might post, oh, there's a thing happening tonight. And then another night, I might post, oh, there's a thing happening tonight. Like again, but it's this night instead of that night. And you might, if you went to my blog, you would see, oh, well, it looks like 5 weeks ago he said there was a thing happening tonight, and it was dated. And then, anytime I said a new timely thing, that stuff would show up, toward the top of what I was doing. So posts are the kind of the role of timely content, stuff that is meant to just be kind of written once and kind of get pushed into history as you're writing your site. Pages are meant to represent what I would call static content that you're going to write it once, and maybe there might be things you're going to update about it, but you don't want it to like roll away, down this deep below a pile of other information you got there. For example, I've got two right here. I've got one that's called About, and one that's called Contact. About is a page that I wrote that didn't say very much about me, but it could say a lot about me were I to write it in there. And the idea being that if this is my website and I want people to know about me or about what I'm doing, that this page is a page that I always want to have be right there available to them, because that's something that people are going to go to again and again and again. Same with Contact. Contact is a way for people to send me an email or look at my fake phone number that I put up. So, as you can see, it looks a lot like a Microsoft Word style editor, like a WYSIWYG editor. You can go in and select stuff and format it with these things. Like if I wanted to make that bold for some reason, it's now bold. I can update that and it'll make that change to the contact page. So if my phone number changes, I can go in and edit it, and every place that anyone would ever find that link for the contact or how to contact me, it's always going to say the correct information that I currently have put up. Used to be, if you were going to have a contact page, you had to link to it from every page that you want someone to be able to link from, and you have to go through and I made a new version of that. Now I have to go to find every page on my website that has that link and make sure it's changed. Content management systems make that way easier. You can just go in and change the content of what that page is in one location, and there's a lot of other sort of automatic updating that takes place. There's a few other things that blogs do that are a little more behind the scenes. One of them is that they tend to organize things using categories and tags, so that you have, in the best of both worlds, you are able to do hierarchical organization, like you would, almost like the way you would with folders, where there's a category, which could be announcements, and then you could have a subcategory of announcements, which are event announcements or something like that. Where you think of there being a hierarchy of that organization. That's like what a category organization is about. Blogs usually also have another system for organizing their content, which is a tagging system, where you're basically putting these keywords that are meaningful words for the content to make it easier to find and easier for people to find similar, bits of information. So let's say I want to add a new page. I can go and do that right now by clicking Add New. What's a reasonable page if we were going to be making a website to promote something? Any thoughts? Right now we've got About and we've got Contact, and that's it. Depends on what you're doing.
Yeah, events or portfolio.
Sure, events, portfolio. For
Front page?
well, front page, yeah. Thankfully, in WordPress, front page, they assume that it's always going to have some kind of a front page. If you want to configure, instead of it making a new thing, let's make a thing here that's called events. And we'll just put my birthday. I don't know, I just come up with a stupid event, right? Don't forget it, guys. You missed it by 35 years. Your birthday tomorrow. Yay! All right. So you asked about a front page. Yeah, you definitely need to have a front page. In WordPress, there's an idiosyncratic way in which WordPress works as far as front pages go. You set that in reading settings. It's under settings, reading settings, and settings looks like it's got little sliders as its little thing, as its little graphic. I think if you click on, I think there's a way in which this expands out, but I think because we're using such a thin screen, I imagine that's why it's not doing it. Anyways, you have your choice between your latest posts for what the front page displays. Your latest posts would be, that's the default, which is show, or posts are blog posts. Show your blog posts, whatever the latest ones are. That's what's happening right now with this site. Or you can select a static page. If you select a static page, you can go in and designate what which of the static pages is going to be the first thing that people see. I could make About be that. That's not not out of hand. In fact, in many cases, if you're making a site to market yourself, there's a very good chance that a rolling list of things that you just thought up to say that are about what's going on with you isn't necessarily the first thing you want people to see. Like, people might only get interested in that after they have decided that they care about you at all. So, after they decide they want to work with you. So yeah, we could say About and go down and save that. Save changes. Okay, that it looks like it did it. So now let's go look at the website from the front and reload the page. And you see that the front page, which has that URL at the top, is the About page. And in fact, it's indicating here that the About page is selected. It's like making it bold. So you can also, in the same set here, you can say what the posts page is. That's actually, I believe, an override for that page, meaning I think if I said the events should be the post page, and then save those changes, My understanding is that if we were to then go visit the events page, which for right now we actually have to do in kind of a silly way, because it's not in our menu right now. I'm going to show you how to put things in a menu in a second. But if I go to events and view, you can see that, yeah, it's showing these posts that I put up on the events page instead of that content about whose birthday it is. So that's a way if you wanted to make a page that was called news, for example. You could make a page called news that's just just has a title, doesn't have any information in it, and then designate that the news page is your posts page, and you would end up with once you added it to your menu, that is, a menu link that that brought people to the latest posts from you and called that news, whether or not it was newsworthy. Let's actually make that happen. How do we do it? You guys want to run through it with me?
Yeah.
Yay! We want to do a page that is called news that doesn't have any content in it, per se. And then we want to make it so that that page is displays the blog posts, whatever the latest ones are. So to do that, we start with pages and we say add. And here we enter the name for that page, which is news. Which is news. Or we could call it the latest news. Whatever we want, doesn't matter. The latest news would be way too long of a name to have in a menu, but that's okay because we're going to learn about how to fix that problem. We don't need to do anything to it for now. We can just leave it be and say publish. And we'll have a thing called the latest news. That will exist. The latest news says absolutely nothing. But there it is. It shows us that it exists. Let's go back to the admin. And let's make that be our posts page. So if you recall, we go down to settings and we go to reading. Instead of it saying events is the post page, let's make the latest news be the post page and say save. So it says the latest news is the post page.
Sorry, quick question.
Please.
If you've got a business site,
Yep.
this might be the post page, might be like a blog aspect.
Yes. In fact, a post page is a blog. I mean,
So,
those
right,
are synonymous.
Functions just like a running blog, but it might be. But so that's a
Posts in WordPress, posts means acts like a blog.
No, I totally understand.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
So yeah,
gotta
that's in this case your news page.
is
It could be your blog. Your news page might be only blog posts that are tagged with news or something like that. I mean, depending on how you want to do it. You could have another page called blog that you put your posts to. That would make a whole lot of sense. So as you can see, right now we only have 4 pages showing up in our menu. There's contact, about. Actually, there's another one down here, special offers, which is below about. Photo gallery and music recordings. There's nothing about events. There's nothing about news. None of that is showing up to anyone who visits this website, which is a problem we need to fix. So let's learn about how we fix that. Under Appearance, which looks like a paintbrush, you go to Menus here, and you click it, and it takes you to this page that's all about making menus do things. So I actually had to go in and create a menu. When you start off, there's sort of a default menu, which is just all the pages that you have. But that's not flexible enough for most people, frankly. As soon as you want to try to do anything other than have every page you ever make show up in a menu, you usually just want there to be a set of them or to be able to change the order of them, other kinds of things like that. So it's worthwhile to create a menu. You go up and you click the Create a New Menu selection here. So right now, I have a menu that I have named Main Menu. That seemed like a good name to me. And it has the following structure, which we've seen already. It's got that contact page, it's got About, it's got Special Offers, which is a sub-item of About. which means it's not taking up any real estate on the page until I am over the About section. And then photo gallery, music recordings, we'll get to those later. A couple things. One is I think it's weird that contact is the first thing. That just seems, I feel like About should be the first thing. That's just me. I feel like contact should be all the way on the other side. So changing those orders, which I'm just doing by dragging them, clicking and dragging them, is a thing you can do here. It's very easy. If you want to nest things or make something a sub-item, you can drag something below, like to the right of something else. You can see here, if I go to About and make it a little bit to the right of it, it makes Photo Gallery be a sub-item of About. Let's see what that looks like. I'm going to save this. Then we're going to come back and add new things to it. And you'll notice it seems like there's fewer things. There are fewer top-level menus. But under About, we now have Photo Gallery and Special Offers showing up in this area. And that's because of that sorting that I did over here, the sub-item that I created here. We want to add events, and we want to add the latest news, or whatever I called that, to this menu. I'm going to do it in a way that will end up looking a little problematic, so that we can learn how to fix that problem. The easiest way to do it, you can actually go to over here to Pages and say, and it'll say Most Recent, or you can say View All. It'll show all the ones there are. It lets me know here that that Home and About are the same thing. You see, that's its way of telling us that that's set as the home page. This is for looking at pages. This is for other stuff, other things that we might display. This other sections, for example, categories. We might put a category page that will display all the content that's been associated with that category when you click on it. That's what Special Offers is actually doing when we click on it. It's showing posts that are tagged as being Special Offers. But we want a page right now, so let's stay with the simple thing. All you really need to do is just check the thing, and we can do the same thing with events, and say Add to Menu. Boom. And we'll see that down here at the bottom, the latest news and events have been added. You can set, by checking in this spot, automatically add new top-level pages to this menu. I find that that's a pain, because very often, aside from the first moment, first day that you're making your website, it's rare that you're going to add a lot of pages that you want to have be the main menu items right away. Let's go look at our website. It's going to look a little wonky. All right. About, music recordings, contact, the latest news, events. If I click on the latest news, I get several things that I put up earlier today, including my special Christmas discount offer, which has a party hat on it. Buy any 3 items totaling $100 or more from now to December 25th and receive 5% off your offer. And this, which is a widget from Bandcamp, like if someone wants to have a music store or wants to showcase music files even. Bandcamp's a really great system for doing that. You can sell digital downloads in a bunch of different formats, and their cut is pretty small of those sales. You can give download codes. You can make download cards. Really, really cool. I know a lot of independent artists use that as their music store. My own personal website, which is a WordPress.org website, it has there are plugins that I got that link in with Bandcamp and actually suck the content over. So if I post a new single or a new album on Bandcamp, it actually automatically gets it set up correctly on my website. So I mean, once you get into using WordPress, there's a lot of plugins and different things you can bring to bear on that kind of stuff. I just wanted to show that because it's the same thing that we're seeing. You can see Mr. Novus Opus here. You can see that that same stuff is available. That's a widget showing those albums and singles. I've got a discography which shows, it's got a list of albums that I've put out and singles that I've put out. I think I curated what these are. But I wanted to show that integration goes further than just being able to embed something, like I'm doing on this site with the music recording section. Mr. Noah's Opus. This is a track that's on the Secret Knowledge 2014 Thank You Mix by David Weingarten. Amazing, amazing. Actually, it's not even released yet, this album. But the music of it is just phenomenal. And he let us include it on our mix, our thank you mix, which is what we sent out to folks who gave, I think it was $25 to the as a donation this year. Anyway, we need to fix this thing. The latest news, kind of charming, but I feel like if we get to a point where we're going to keep expanding this menu, the latest news seems like a little wordy, and I want to also be able to demonstrate to you how you that there can be a difference between the name of a page and its menu item name, which is kind of a cool thing. You can. I do this too on Secret Knowledge's website. There are pages which have a name or a title to them that is fundamentally different from what the title is that's in the menu, because the menu is about helping people find things and promoting it to them. The title is about making them feel like they're they got there and that it's the right thing and that kind of stuff. And those are often slightly different challenges. We go back to appearance, menus, and you'll see that over here, where the menu structure is listed, there are little expansion arrow things, computer hieroglyphics for you can expand me by clicking on me. And if I click correctly on that, I can change the navigation label, which is what that is, to just be news. Yay.
I have a quick question.
Please.
If you click cancel, does that stop it from? Does that just simply remove it from being a page and maybe drops it into a blog roll? What does it do? What does cancel versus remove do?
Oh, great question. Thank you for asking that. You want to know, because we see these options that say cancel versus remove. What's the difference and what are the consequences of clicking on them in this context, in the context of editing this menu?
Yeah, separate from the name, let's just say you have a page, you're not sure, you don't necessarily want to get rid of it, but you don't want it to function as a page.
Okay, these are two different questions, and I'll answer both of them, plus maybe a third one.
Okay.
In this context that we're in right now, where we are on the menu editing section of the backend, and we're about to change the name of a menu item, the label of the menu item. Cancel makes it so that what I've typed here is not stored.
Okay.
It does nothing to the page. It just means that, oh, I goofed. And I forgot how I spell entrepreneur or whatever the thing, and I just want to save myself some work. So I say cancel, and what you'll see is that what the hell?
All right, so it just
Oh, it auto-saved it.
it just cancels the editing.
Well, it should cancel the editing. Well, what's interesting? Oh, no. That's interesting. Do you guys see this? It says news, but the navigation is the latest news.
So when it left your changes in, but it just didn't. It prevented them from going live.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. That's definitely true.
Okay.
That's definitely
So
true.
You could have.
I think I could. Well, and actually, even if I go and save now, it's going to save it with the latest news because that's what the thing says. See?
Yeah, but up to the point.
Up to that point, it
up to
didn't
that
put it.
point, you
Yeah.
save changes, cancel.
Right.
You can get out of that page or something.
Yeah. It's like the consequences of all your tomfoolery of editing it. You're being saved from that.
So if you clicked remove.
If I clicked remove, it would actually take it remove this item from that menu. Let's do it.
Where would that?
The content doesn't go anywhere. The content stays where it is. Where if I were to enter in the URL, the web address of that page, I would still go there. But it would no longer show up in the menu.
because I've now removed that item from the
It would
menu.
be in the pages section.
Right, so.
Well, yeah, and actually, I think even if it's there, it's still in the pages section.
Yeah, it's static, it's
See what I'm saying?
static,
Like,
static,
it's still
but not
there.
live. I understand,
Yeah.
so you could
It's still
create-
live, but
create-
then that the menu is not. The menu would no longer have it in it.
Not for public viewing,
No, a person can still. The public can still go and see that page. They can still go and visit it. There's nothing preventing them. There's no access. I mean, if this were live, the whole thing is not live right now, but let's say it is. There's no access control or anything like that that's being, in this case, that's preventing them from seeing it. It's just saying, I've got a thing that stores what the menu looks like and what it says. And you have now removed one of the things that I used to mention
you have to
from
know
that.
how to get to that page
Yeah.
to find it.
You need to know it, or search. It would show up in the search.
Generally speaking, if someone's just flipping through the website.
They would probably not find it.
Okay.
Unless there was a tag. I mean, there's 100 different ways people find things.
I got you.
But yeah, if they did a Google search and that was the page that had been indexed,
Right.
right.
But you can't necessarily make it private.
No, you can. There are things you can do. I'm not telling you that can't happen. That was, remember when I said, oh, you're actually asking 2 questions and there's also a third that we should answer? That was the third one that I'm thinking that needed to be answered, which is how do you make pages be not public, make them be private? You can, just not in the menu editor. Menu editor is not the way to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, let's show how to do it, because you want to know, I want to tell you. How do you make it so things move between being publicly visible and not? And that's all done at the page level. So if we go and let's go to events and go edit. So published is the current status, visibility public. You can unpublish something. That would make it so that it's not, people don't see it. It's in draft form. So if you're developing a page and you're not ready to have it be at all out anywhere, you're writing something and the news hasn't come through yet. We don't know if Dewey won or not. But you've got the article all ready for if either candidate has won. You can have both of them be in draft form, not published. So that's one piece. You can go edit. You got some options. You got pending review and you got draft. I have never played with pending review. My understanding is that would be if you had developed some sort of a workflow where only certain people with certain kinds of accounts in the back here can approve things to be published, but other people can write them. Like if you're making like a little newspaper blog, and there was like an editor who was in charge of approving stuff, you could have there be that workflow there. If I put it back to draft, then that would take it from being published. If I say cancel here, it makes it so I'm no longer I haven't monkeyed with anything. Let's go to visibility, public. There is public, there's password protected, and there's private. So private means that only people who have the access to the back end can see it. It's not. It might actually show up on the website for someone who is an administrator who's logged in. Like I might be able to see it there, but it would let me know that that's actually not showing up for people who are strangers, who are anonymously visiting. Password protected would be a way of making it so that something is available to other people, but they need to know the password in order to view it. So, let's make it be that for events. Password is foobar. Baz. Okay. Oh, but I'm not gonna. This is gonna be challenging because the whole website is not published right now. So if I'm going not logged in, I won't be able to see it. So let's just make it be public. Might as well. Let's make the visibility be something else. We'll make it public, but we're going to discourage search engines from indexing it for right now. Save changes. Now, you guys, if you wanted to go on your things, you can actually visit it, skwebsitedemo.wordpress.com. I also, in my incognito window, which doesn't store the fact that that I've logged in, I can go to it, and you see I no longer have all this fancy menu bar and whatnot. Events is still listed. Go to events. This content is password protected. To view it, please enter your password below. Let's put flurb. Submit. Oh, nope. Foobar. Submit.
And you can see my birthday, June 4th, 1979. Your birthday? Tomorrow. So you're seeing how that functions for keeping something private. Let's say I change this to being public again. Go OK. And let's make it be draft now. No longer published. Update. Let's see what happens. Visibility is public, but it's a draft. So who knows what that means? I don't know. Let's find out. This is somewhat embarrassing, isn't it? It seems we can't find what you're looking for. Perhaps searching can help. This is telling a stranger that, that doesn't really exist. I don't know what you're talking about. It's because I moved that content into being in draft mode. It's no longer, even though it says that it's publicly visible, it's not published. Pending review. So yeah, okay, pending review means that there's a way you can save something like it's basically ready to go, but not publishing it yet, and then publish it when the time comes. That's kind of cool. It's like this, it's saying, I think it's done. It's not really just like a raw draft mode, but I think it's done.
We're back to having the latest news as our menu item. Let's fix that. You guys recall how?
What are we doing?
We're going to make the latest news say news instead of the latest news. Under menus, go here to the latest news, and we just call this news. And then at the where'd it go? Yeah, I gotta try not to. The problem is that my screen is smaller than I used to, and the save menu button is only in a couple locations. And so, having done that, if we go back to this view of it, like the public's view of it, you see that it now just says news, even though the title of it, or at least the URL of it, is the latest news. And in fact, the title of it, as far as you can see here, the latest news, and it actually says Noah's Creative Business, are two things for people who like pretty stuff. That's all sort of a composite of what the title is, as far as like a search engine would see it, or if someone made a bookmark of this thing, those words would show up there. That's the page title, like, as far as the back end of this thing is concerned. All right, so I have a blog. It looks like this. I have a website. It looks like this. One of the very nice things about working with a content management system is that, particularly one that's as popular as WordPress or Drupal for that matter, is that if you want to experiment with having different looks to how that website is presented and styled, everything from what the fonts are to the colors to where stuff shows up, where the content shows up. It's dead simple, click of a button, to switch out other themes. Right now we're using a theme, and that theme is called, I don't remember, 2013, 2012? Let's see, 2012. There are oodles of WordPress themes to choose from. I would suggest when you're first getting started, pick a very simple theme, one that has a menu of some sort across the top, that's not got too much fanciness looking, going. Use that as your workbench for building your site content, because you should focus on what are the pieces of your website, what are the main top level pages that you're going to have, what are the what kinds of content are you displaying? Is there some sort of portfolio you're doing, or is it about presenting what albums you have for sale, or that kind of thing? Focus on that initially, because you can dive very deeply into how the thing eventually looks, and you can get lost pretty quickly doing that. I'm not saying don't try it, because if you want it, it's a fun time and you can always switch back. But you're better off spending some time initially building some content. Making some posts for your post page, making some top level pages that do some things, And then go and visit and see what you like and what what seems good. In WordPress.com, there are a lot of different ones, many of which you have to pay for, but a bunch of them you don't. And so you can actually filter them by saying free, and you'll see the ones that are the free ones. I played with a bunch of them today. So with any of these themes that you might see that you want to play with, you can preview them by clicking preview, and you can kind of see what it'll look like with your website. See, it's changed. You can see the signature thing, which I don't think was visible before. The menu on this one is now a mobile style menu that comes down. In fact, this particular web theme appears to basically just be a mobile site. They're acting like it's a mobile responsive site, which is a good thing to look for if you're picking for that term, responsive or mobile responsive, means that the layout of how the menu is done and how the content is presented will change, hopefully in a smart way, in response to the size of the view screen, which happens to correspond to whether someone is looking at it on a phone, which way they're holding that phone, if it's on a tablet, if it's on a computer that someone has something else open right next to it or some such thing, that kind of thing. What's nice is that you can actually preview down here the different layouts for the theme that you're evaluating. Right now it's on desktop, but let's view it as a tablet. That's kind of cool. You can see not a lot changed because I'm already got kind of a skinny screen. Let's look at it like it's on a phone. You can see my menu, doink, menu, doink. And it looks pretty good for being on a phone. But I'll tell you, on a computer, it sure doesn't look all that great. Yeah, not impressed with that much at all, truth be told. Let's look at the photo gallery. Gallery of cat photos. On a phone. Actually not all that great because you can't really see it. Anyways, you get the idea. If I wanted to make that be my website theme, all it takes is for me to say activate, and it is on there. It's going. And I can switch back to the other one anytime I want. You can actually even kind of surf through these things and say, what do I like? What do I like? What do I like? Pin scratch. Let's preview that. Oh, it looks kind of nice. What's it look like on a tablet? Not much different. What's it look like that way? What did it look like before? It has nice menus here. If you want to see what mobile responsive really looks like, that is a mobile responsive thing where the menu changes to do that system. You'll note that this menu is different than what our menu is right now. That's because it isn't set to use the correct menu yet. It's just showing us a preview of it. But let's make this one be the one. We'll say activate. And then let's go look at our website and see how it looks. Yeah, you see it's got home, it's got events, it's got contact and the latest news. But it doesn't have a lot of the other stuff that the other one does. That's because you have to go into the settings for this theme and tell it what menu is the good one to use. So now that we've got a theme picked out and we want to see what it can do, one part of your evaluation should involve going down to look and feel and saying customize. And we'll see this familiar thing over here, which is the design here, the sort of the settings. So let's go to menus, and we can select primary menu is the main menu, and say save. Social links would be if you made a menu that had your Twitter and whatnot on it. So yeah, having gone in and changed that, you can see that that music resources, contact, news, events, those are all those menu items that we identified before. Which widgets are a way of putting content up on the into parts of the page. I'll show you one real quick. If we go to appearance and then I say widgets, I can go in and get some things. I can get let's find something. All these different things that I might find. I can get the follow blog thing. Sure. It's like a thing to get people to sign up. Say save. I can get the categories cloud, sure, which is like a way of showing how much. Oops, I did it wrong. Oh, there it is. Cool. Clouds. Save. And then now if I go back and I view my website, having done that, I now see that in this section over here, the follow blog via email, this thing is now there. Clouds, this is my announcements, my special offers. If I had a bunch more and they were of varying, if I had enough content that like some things came up more than others, the sizes of those font would be relative to that. So so widgets are a way of like putting pieces of dynamic content on there, but it's limited in that like I couldn't go and get a MailChimp sign up and like put it right there on a WordPress.com site without there being some change to the paid hosting, I think. But I can link to the sign up page that's hosted by MailChimp on their site, and I might style that page so that it looks kind of like my thing, and then people can sign up that way. If I'm trying to stay within the free zone here. Similarly, ordinarily I wouldn't be able to embed Bandcamp, those music links that I put in, through the normal method of putting an iframe, like the thing that embeds another website into the website. I wouldn't be able to do that, except for that apparently there's been some agreement between Bandcamp and WordPress.com such that they allow it. There's a special, what they call a short code, which is like a simplified way of embedding things, that you can go and create on your Bandcamp site or anyone's Bandcamp site. You can get like someone who likes music and just embed it that way. And they give WordPress.com as an option of how they format the link, which is pretty cool. I was pleased to see that as far as advocating for musicians using this. That's my message on that front. So, questions on this one as far as stuff that's particular to what you're working on?
Can WordPress interface with FTP sites?
Yeah. What are you thinking about doing?
Well, it's mostly just because I deal with really, really large file types and I work remotely a lot, so sometimes I'm trying to send people draft sound design pieces.
Oh, sure.
Like a lot of times we're sending it through Dropbox or Google Docs.
Sure.
Incredibly limited.
Yeah. Okay, so now that I understand your question, that's going to depend entirely on your hosting. If you're actually planning on using the same site that's hosting the files for your website as a work site for FTP. WordPress.com, for example, I don't believe you have any FTP access to whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, you can add a link to any FTP site you want, but I thought.
Paid content at that point.
Well, right, and actually, in the case of WordPress.com, I think you can have up to 3 gigabytes up there, but those 3 gigabytes can only be comprised of essentially documents and images primarily. So you could put like an Excel file up. You can't host any audio or video directly on WordPress.com unless you pay for one of their accounts, which you can. But I would imagine that if you're going to do that kind of thing, there's probably some better choices out there than with WordPress.com.
With your personal experience with website building,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, have you found certain layouts to be more successful?
It's not so much about the layout. It's about where is the important thing, and how do I make sure that it's right there, and how do I make sure that people know that that's where they're going to go to get it, right? So in the case of directors, you want them to hire you. So when they show up, they need to know that they can hire you, that you're even available to be hired, that other people have hired you and that they liked it, like that they were glad of it. You can probably get some testimonials that say something to the effect of letting people know that you were a good person to work with, that it was so worthwhile to work with you for such and such a reason. But have that be very prominent. Have it, you should do this. If you want to do this, here's how you do it. If you want to hire me, here's how you do it. It's very simple. Letting people know your rates is not a bad idea. I have yet to encounter a situation that where anyone has in any way conclusively proven to me that telling people what something will cost has lost them a job that they were going to get. You know what I mean? Like, on the other hand, I know that if I go to a website and it's like, call for a quote, I never call for a quote. It's like saying, get in touch with our sales team. Great, I want to talk to that guy.
Somebody will get back to you shortly.
Yeah, please, no. I would just like to know. I would just like to know, even if it's like an estimate. Even if it's saying, here's a ballpark of it, you need to still get in touch with us at this point. Come up with a rate and be honest with yourself about what that rate really is, and make that rate be just a little more than a shy person feels comfortable with.
Secret Knowledge is a nonprofit that helps creative people like you get down to business.